Hey, Craig. That's Axel. He says hi. Thought responding to your message would be a little long in a text, so I did a little bit of research, found a couple of things that I thought were really interesting, and I figured this would be a better way to communicate it to you than trying to do a long text. So, you asked about China and Russia getting together to go away from the U.S. dollar, COVID-19 as part of that plot, and Russia and Saudis teaming up in an oil war to hurt American oil producers, and that COVID-19 stops travel to depress the oil market and hurt U.S. oil production. All right. First things first, Russia and China getting together. They've been trying to undercut the US dollar for years. It's never going to happen because they're never going to trust each other. The Chinese and Russian economies combined are less than 14 trillion. So the GDP of China is 12 trillion. Russia is 1.5 trillion. Russia knows if China comes out on top of a US Chinese trade war, Russia is going to be hurt by that. Russia is trying to use China, but China is trying to use Russia as well. Neither of them trust the other, so they're never going to get together. What I found that was hilarious is that it turns out that China and Russia have formed this thing they're calling the Eurasia Trade Pact. It's like a bunch of trailer park boys getting together. It's ridiculous. It's China, Russia, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Dude, China's economy is a $12 trillion economy. Russia is 1.5 trillion. The rest of them don't even break 500 billion. Combined, China and Russia make almost 14 trillion GDP. The other three aren't even a rounding error. And here's the greatest thing. Iran, Afghanistan, Belarus, and Mongolia are toying with the idea of getting involved in this Eurasian trade pact. Those four combined aren't even 500 million. All together, if all of them got their act together, they would make a $15 trillion economy, best case. And that's before all the fallout from the COVID-19 outbreak. The American economy is almost $20 trillion. We outmatch all of them. We outmatch China. We embarrass the rest of them. And why are they getting together? Those guys are getting together because they're pissed off at American trade sanctions. They're angry at the consequence of Chinese intellectual property theft and Russian aggression in Crimea. I mean, it's like pirates being pissed off that the people they've been robbing from are starting to fight back. It's just ridiculous. It's absurd on its face. And the fact that all of the other players know that at the end of the day, they end up being Chinese slave states, that's going to keep them from ever combining in any realistic way that could conceivably harm the U.S. The idea that COVID-19 is a plot to harm the West, dude, if that's the case, then it has backfired tremendously. I mean, if that's the case, then it just proves that communists are stupid, like epically stupid. China has 2.5 million ill or infected, and they've lost over 170,000 people. And those are Chinese numbers, which you know are false. Their economy is likely to contract by close to 10% when this is all over and done with. They are losing 460,000 firms, and their registrations for new firms have dropped by a third. Forbes has said that the coronavirus is the end of China as a global manufacturing hub. The Chinese economy is likely to never fully recover from this. The distribution of the supply chains around the world everybody moving into Southeast Asia and the Pacific Rim means that China is hemorrhaging manufacturing contracts. They're not going to recover from that. America will continue to receive cheap goods from around the world. Our economy is going to rebound dramatically because our economy is a free market-based economy. The Russian oil sector is controlled by the Russian government. That's a single entity. The American oil sector is not controlled by the government. It's not even dominated by any one large firm. There are multiple firms competing in a competitive marketplace. That gives our industry, our oil industry, greater strength and greater resiliency. We're going to get better. China is going to end up way worse. And all of these countries combining to try to overcome American global economic dominance is kind of like an East Side trailer park and a West Side housing project combining for better meth distribution because they're pissed off at Amazon and Jeff Bezos. It's all ridiculous. The Russian ruble is wholly dependent on energy exports. The collapse in the oil market, oil trading in negative dollars, like negative $35 a barrel last week. That means the Russian economy is suffering. That means the OPEC nations are suffering. This virus has hurt everybody. It's about how do you recover from that damage. And at the end of the day, the American economy is better positioned to recover faster and be stronger on the far end. I wouldn't worry about it. The economic ramifications of this are going to be relatively short-lived. Are some people going to be hurt in the short term? Absolutely. They've already been hurt in the short term. But long term, we're going to come out of this a lot better. Internationally, the American economy is going to fare a lot better than anywhere else in the world because of the principles that the American economy and the American government is founded on. If we get back to those principles, if we stick to those principles of free markets and free people, of individual sovereignty and personal liberty, we're only going to get stronger. This coronavirus outbreak is a big wake-up call for a lot of people, and hopefully the American voters are paying attention. Anyway, hope it helps. Have a good one. Stay safe, stay healthy.